So we are live, right?
Yes, we are.
So welcome to
Podii. So what are your people?
welcome to.
Can we really hear you?
Can you hear me? Yeah, by the way, that's the question. You can hear me.
Mimi nawasikika.
No, you
No,
can't.
we can't hear you.
Am I being heard? Still not. Huh? Hello? Then you're. Okay. Hello? 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 Thank you. Linda, you are hearing me. So, take your headphone, please. So, today we. So, today we're going through Ruby methods. So, the target of this meetup is to understand what methods are. So, by the end of this meetup, you should be able to define and use methods. So, welcome. Oh, okay. So, for both physical and online audience, I am Okoth Kongo, and welcome to this meetup. I'll be talking about Ruby methods at basics level. So you can ask questions and let's learn together. So our Twitter handle, okay, is at Podii, and Podii HQ, and you can also follow me at Okoth Kongo. And our hashtag is Ruby Kisumu. So welcome. So we'll start with the basic. What is method? I start this for formality. Let's start with the definition. So before I throw this question to the audience, let me make a little. So method and function are more like the same thing, right? So it's like just like when you are English people say, and then the Swahili say Arab, like it's the same thing. The only thing is the difference is the language. In Python we call them functions. In Elixir we call them functions. In Ruby we call them the method. So whatever language you are from, so I can ask what is a method, bearing in mind that method and function are the same thing. So what is a method? So any online listener anaweza jibu hiyo. You are online. No, you are online, all of you. Yeah, thank you. So
A method in terms of English.
no, we are talking about Ruby. What is a Ruby method? Bearing in mind from any language that method can be function or method. It doesn't matter. So Calvin's, you've been studying about functions in JavaScript, right? So you can define method from that perspective. Can we hear you? Can we hear you? No, there's no wrong or hey, Getty. I'm the meetup math. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh. No, this thing is recorded for live audience. Oh, the guy had the problem with the net, right? I saw him struggling. Unaweza kuja hapa karibu na Getty ujibu swali. It's okay.
Yeah.
Define a method.
Can you hear him?
Yeah.
So a method is added to either variable, meaning it's added to a variable to either try to do something variable, either find number of 10 variable, do something like that.
Kitu sawa.
Okay. So okay, sijui tuko na app, but you can use the board. I don't know whether the online viewers will see you though. To just say whatever it is, because I'm trying to imagine and I'm not seeing the thing. Maybe if you write it down, I can see it better. Yeah, exactly. You can define by just writing. It's okay.
So for example,
Mhm.
there are variable, then let's say city
Mhm. Equals.
within which we
Okay.
and then come here console the call back and this way. Now you use the method inside. Now it take is so now we want to find the length of this string.
Mhm.
So if you do like city length, then now so this way then when you log it, return the value of
Exactly. So in this case, where's the method?
the method.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, good job. So he's bringing a new perspective of method which I was not dealing with today. Okay, that's a good one though. Those are methods, yeah. Maybe from his perspective, he may call them functions. They're called inbuilt functions, right? And today I'm dwelling with the one you define yourself, right? So I'll be dwelling a little bit. So it's better you listen right now. So a method is a block of reusable code. So method is literally a process of doing something, right? So method is a block of reusable codes. So it's literally a method of doing something. For instance, let's for instance, a method called make tea involves putting a sufuria on a stove, pouring a certain amount of water, putting tea leaves, and boiling it for a certain amount of time. So here the method is make tea. So we want to make tea. So I said method is a block of reusable codes. So in this instance, I'm having a method called make tea. I can reuse it to make certain amount of tea. For example, if I want tea for 20 people, I'll use the same method. Tea for 1,000 people, I'll use the same method. The only thing which will vary maybe is the size of the sufuria, the amount of water, the amount of tea leaves, and the time of boil. I mean the amount of time for boiling. That's the only thing which will vary, but the process remains the same. So that process which remains the same is what we call the method. So it's worth noting that Ruby being one of the few true or all languages, methods are messages sent to objects. Everything in Ruby is an object, right? So we instruct them to transform. Okay, send to object, instructing them to transform. So object being the receivers. So for instance, your Calvin in your case, if this were Ruby, which of I believe this 002, so No, he's Googling, and I was wondering what's going on. So in this case, for instance, right? So this is an object, and this is a method or a function, which we may call it. So this is the receiver, and this is the message, right? So this is a receiver, this is a message. So you are sending a message to this object. Kindly tell me your length. Okay, it's usually not kindly as such. By force, tell me your length. So it returns back a value, tells you, okay, my length is in this instance 4. So that's a message. Everything, if it's true object-oriented language, everything is an object. Even the classes themselves are objects, right? Because when you want to create a new class, for instance, an instance of a class, for example, let's say there's a class called my name, and then you want to create my instance, my small children, you'll tell you'll send me a message called new. So I'll create a new instance of me. So this is a message, this is the object. And yet in this place, it is in this case, it is a class. But more, which we will not dwell with, you realize that objects are instances of class, yet classes are objects. It's funny. Okay, so let's not dwell that much into that. So there's the general syntax of a method in Ruby. So for example, we have the keywords def and end. Those are the only keywords. So whereby which will be the method name and any process you want to be done here. So the keyword. So as simple as that. So I've made a method there, make t, giving it 3 parameters, and then telling it what to do and how to do it. So we can go to IRB and create a method. We will create for us a simple method, which will maybe give sum of 2 numbers. Give us sum of 2 numbers. Do you have IRB in your system?
No.
Ruby interpreter, that is.
Oh.
So you'll share your screen, right? Just share your screen. Oh God. She'll share your screen with us as you define. The only keywords I've stated are def. The rest don't matter because, okay, they matter, but it's just a variable, which is the name, and other variables, which are then the body, which entails what the method is supposed to do.
Can I not also escape?
Yeah, you can, of course. But I can't quit, man.
Is that okay? Yes.
I can't see you.
Can you explain what IRB is?
Oh, IRB is interpreted Ruby, which is in any. Oh, okay, whatever. Okay, it's an interpreter. Yeah, it does. Okay, like they were saying that. They were saying that. How comes Ruby understands something? So these are what Ruby understands. These are the keywords. So it interprets whatever you've given it to a language which it understands. Okay, it interprets the Ruby language, that is. So generally that was an interpreter is. So can you give us a simple method which gives us the sum of, or maybe it doesn't matter the syntax that much, but remember to put the keywords def and end. And a variable, giving it a name, and parameters, some parameters. Oh,
It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong.
just to add two things. Just to add. Just to add. We're not interested in the results. But you can always display if you want, but just to add, it's okay. Remember, I said there are only two keywords. Can you look at the board and tell me what the keywords are? Okay, you placed it. Okay, thank you. I are really gonna load. Okay, it's okay. So, okay, Calvin, you're partly wrong and you're partly right. So, the reason why you're right is because omeka def and end. Those are a bit. The okay, the syntax is good. Syntax is wrong, yeah. Syntax is the wrong syntax. The reason why it's wrong is that the variables, right? The parameter they're supposed to don't accept literals here. I'll explain further what literals are, but literals are the values, the true value. For instance, just after end, just please press the enter key. You see. Okay, let's not dwell into that. So I want you to write something like A in the screen and then press enter. And then write 2. So press enter. I don't know if you've seen the difference between the literal and the variable. So what have you deduced? In this place, we read the errors. Can you read the error? So variables must be defined. So a literal is something which, in my simplicity, I usually define as something that computers understands. A variable, it doesn't understand until you assign it, unless that is. So another problem is not just, okay, it's not that much problem, but it's Ruby convention. We don't use capital letters of the uppercase during to, okay, I know JavaScript is allowed, but in this language of ours, we don't allow such in methods, right? So those are the only problem with your function. Anyway, it's okay. Between? For example, add 2 numbers. Or there's something we call snail case, yeah? So you put an underscore, then number, then underscore if you want. Underscore 2, underscore number. Def add underscore 2, underscore number, with T being small letters and N being small letters. It's a convention. It's not though it won't bring an error or it won't return into it, but it's a general practice. Conventions are rules which are not mandatory, but they are used so that your code should be more understandable if you use them, that is. But they're just okay. But you must care for others too. So when writing your code. You're asking me how? Okay, I didn't quite understand your question. Good. So I'll answer your question in later parts of the slide as we go on, right? So let me go on and you'll see how. Okay. Yeah, Jackie.
Before we continue,
Eh,
I suggest that school correct
Huh?
it's your correct view.
Oh, I was just dwelling so much into definition. So, okay, he did the correct definition. I was just interested on not definition as such, but general syntax of the method, whereby I was only interested in these two words only. That was my interest. So, variable definition. So, okay, partly this one, Calvin have done it for us. So, variable is supposed to be assigned. So, you'll run into an error, a definition error, when you try to work with an assigned variable. So, just like variables, methods must also be defined. You must tell Ruby what it's working with so that it knows priors. Yeah? So, method definition, give it a name, and what it's supposed to take in to transform the data, transform that data. So after all, that's the simplest definition of programming, data transformation. So therefore, method has name, parameter, what is a body, the desired output, and how it's supposed to reach there. So generally, that's a method. So going back to our method, we have a method called makeT, where its name is makeT, and it has parameters water, tea leaves, and time. So the body is what inside there, how it's supposed to make that tea. You tell it there because you want it to make for you tea. So unless there's a question, I'm going to parameters. I'll be speaking bit by bit as I dissect through whatever I've just written, that whole thing there. As I was speaking about making tea, make tea. Okay, sijui mbona function imechange jina. Anyway, it's okay. Make tea method. I mentioned that you you pour in some water, some amount of water, put tea leaves and boil it for specific amount of time. These are parameters. They act as placeholder for numbers, for the number of data method takes in during its call. Okay, I'll be talking about the call soon. As you may have seen, they are variables. Amount of water, amount of time, and tea leaves varies. So let's turn to our magician and see errors and sort them out. So who will open for us IRB this time around? Linda, do for us the magic. Yes, so you can make you can define a function which maybe gets a product. This time around, I want you to define it with parameters being literals. Any data type, a string, an array, any. I want you to define a function or a method which gets the product of two numbers. But this time around, I want you to try using literals or data or any, okay, literals as the parameter, and let's see what happens. Exactly. I do it again and let's see. Let's see the difference that is. Oh. Oh, super. How do we do this? I can't. See you locker. Lock it to a screen. I'm trying to follow Linda.
Just tap on her screen.
Okay, I can see her now.
Your screen's still loading your phone.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not seeing anything.
You said that.
Oh,
Yes.
I told you to get a product. That's why I was still wondering. I was thinking it was Calvin. It's okay though. So as you have seen, syntax, that's a syntax error now. Yeah, so it's a syntax error. It's not a naming error. So syntax error is a serious one. So when it's come to errors, syntax error is one of the serious one. So unexpected integer. So type integer. It doesn't expect integers in the parameters. Yeah. So parameters are supposed to be variables because we use them as placeholders. Variables are generally placeholders. So this, on the same spirit, Linda sasa tuandike yenye inachukua variable. Sasa tuone the differences. Variable maybe ab alafu inapata product. 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 Yeah. So Calvin, umeona difference sasa? The difference between them. Yeah, thanks. So that being said,
She has a question.
yeah, which one? Okay, that's a good one. Hmm? Okay, I want to answer your question, and I want you to help me answer it. So, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, function name is a variable, right? Up to that point, unaelewa. So, function. What's the function name of this function? Exactly. So, it's not a must that if I give it add, it's supposed to add. Just a name. Just like I can say b equals to 2. Nikiamua tu inakuwa c next time nasema c equals to 2. It doesn't matter, right? Just a placeholder. So that's why it's just, it's okay. But it will be confusing for us when you say add, yet you are multiplying. I told her to find the product, she's adding, and then, though confusing, but logically correct, right? Yeah. That's why I know the confusion comes in.
What if variables are
A value. For example, it's- just hold on to that thought. Thank you. I'll answer that. Yes.
I was trying to say,
Yeah.
that's the point, because anytime you're naming a function, it should be the name of what that function does.
Yeah. It makes sense. That's why I'm saying it will be confusing. Yeah. It will be confusing. Yeah. It will be confusing, but it is syntactically correct, but confusing. Now it should be what that function does. Now that's a convention. That's not a syntax problem. Yeah. So convention, we can bypass them, but it's not advisable.
I'll type at a convention error.
No. No, it's okay. So I'll get back to you in a few. I'll answer your question in a few. So up to that point, you are all clear. Thank you. So this function, when you are calling it, which I'll be talking about later, the a being variable, you can always replace it with whatever you like. If you say a is 20, it can be 20, it can be 30, so it can always multiply anything you give it. Sawa. Oh God. I'm supposed to continue. Okay. Na imefika juu. So the body. So about the body, I won't say much. So only two things. One, you make the call. So when you make the call, the function does whatever you tells it to do. Whatever you tell it is in the body. That's where you tell it to do whatever you want it to do. So that's why Linda called her function add, but what he told function to do, what did he tell function to do? What did she tell function to do? To multiply them. Huh? So it doesn't matter. It just does what you tell it to do. And the second one is Ruby has no return keyword. So in some languages you have something like return, for example, mostly functional and it a return too, but si lazima. Okay, it has, but it makes no difference. Therefore, it returns the last statement in the method. Okay, in the method body, that is. So what I'm talking about here is, I don't know whether we'll go to IRB so that we understand what I'm talking about. So Jackie, this answers your question now. So you'll do it for us. So this will answer your question. So for example, write a function, the same one which Linda did. Yeah, IRB, please. This one has IRB, this machine you have. Oh. No, okay, I don't know. I don't know. Hebu jaribu IRB. IRB. No, IRB. It is everywhere. Oh, Anna. Oh, God. She doesn't have. What I know. Inakuja na Ubuntu. Anyway, so okay, you can always do that. So let's say the function Linda. So this time around we'll use product add, and we'll be summing it for real, not add then we multiplying it. So for example, yeah, so a function which takes two parameters. Its name is add, and then add a. Okay, add. Okay, parameters are a and b. Then the function body, I want you to write. My name is Jack, a string. And then I want somebody to tell us the return value of this one. When we call it, no, can I see you, Jackie? No, can I? Oh, can we?
I'm on my screen. Yeah, DT. Are you there?
Okay, Podii. You're the Podii.
Right.
Hmm?
I put in a screen, so let's move.
Spaces, it's okay. And then this function is not complete. I said the function have only two things which are very important in Ruby. Thank you very much, Jackie. So, by a wild guess, if I call this function using two literals, maybe 2 and 2, what will be the return value? A wilder guess. Let me say, I say, okay, I call add with two values, maybe 6 and 7. Or what will be the return value in this case? Remember, I said, okay, Jackie.
I think it's return is
Exactly. So it will return always. So the body is where you tell function to do what it does. It doesn't matter. Kenye umesema kwa body nitafanya. Ukimwambia, say you hate yourself, the function will always say I hate myself. So that's what it does. It doesn't matter. As long as you may call the appropriate number of argument, it will always give you whatever is in the body. So hapo kwa body ndio inaambia ifanye kitu tunafanya. So I believe that answers your question. Whatever you want the function to do and then how to do it, that's where you do it.
So this really make it separate.
Assign what?
value to a variable.
What is a variable? I'll come back to that question again. What is a variable to you?
A variable, it's a placeholder. Like a placeholder.
In Alexa, what is a variable? So in Alexa, what is a variable?
This was
What's that?
enabling.
So it's a placeholder for information. What's a variable in Python? What is a variable in? There's a language called Moonstone in Moon. So what is a variable? Exa-
What does vary mean? Change. It's in English. Yeah. So variable is something that is not usually in the language.
So it's just a placeholder. It just holds the place of that variable. It can change anytime. So whether it's in Alexa or whatever, it just does the same. Sijui kama answer your question. Okay. What you said pattern matching. And,
I asked you
Hmm.
the same way they did say we don't do assignment.
Okay. Mhm.
To a variable to a variable. This will be electronic.
So for example, if I'm getting you right, you're saying something like this.
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
Okay.
You do assignment.
This is Ruby.
Which is assignment. Which one are they?
So okay. From what I'm getting, you're trying to complicate this thing, which is not a good thing. But okay, the only difference is that whether you go into, okay, you'll go back into nitty-gritties of Alexa, which I'm not interested in right now, is that to me in Ruby this is assignment. To Alexa this is pattern matching. They're practically doing the same thing. Oh, okay.
That's what I asked.
Okay. The wording is like kama kusema kukuita kwa Kiswahili. Though in Alexa is more detailed, which I will not go into that. Linda will go into it some days, which of course I know she did. But ni kama kusema kuita and call. This is Alexa, this is Ruby.
Ni kama for Alexa create a list, see to it array.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. The only okay, I'm done. I gotta go. So are you seeing me? So I think I'm done with the body. So I'll go to method. Okay, the call. Okay, method call and arguments. So you've defined your function, told it what to do, and now you want it to do it. Umeshaiambia kila kitu kwa body, umeidefine, umeipatia jina huku juu, sasa unataka ifanye kitu. Unaicall. Now that's what we call. And when you're calling, you give it an argument. When you're defining it up there, you give it parameters. So when you're calling it down here, unaipatia arguments. Arguments and parameters. Hii ina confusing mpaka wale ma PhD holders it confuses, and you will see them getting used interchangeably. Mara arguments, parameters, mara nini, no. I don't think they're the same thing. So ni kama venye nilikuwa nasema A and 2. It's like kusema A and 2. They're totally different. Okay, nimeshapita hii place ndio kwa maana nasema hivi. Si unaelewa tunaongelelea? Thank you. So ni kama kusema A na 2 ni the same thing. They are not. Because A inaweza geuka 3 ikipenda. 2 itabaki to 2. Right? A inaweza geuka 20. Exactly.
And that's why it's called a variable.
Exactly. So parameter is a variable. Arguments are literals. You can't say that ati unaicall na parameters or unasema unaicall na parameters. Sasa unaita like it doesn't, okay, inakaa tu mbaya hata nikiisema. So anyway, so that being said, unaweza jaribu, it's always good to experiment. Ujaribu kudefine function yako, we call na parameter na we call na literal tuone kita happen. It's always good to experiment. So let's turn into this has become a formality. Unaenda tu kwa IRB then unafanya magic, unaiguzaguza. It's a good thing. It's a good place to play around, especially when you don't know something. You are trying it out. Inaruhusiwa kutest. So test it. Please test it. We'll test it for us. Paulette, laptop yako imeenda off. Amehang. Get it to test ye. Tuna test. What are we testing? Oh no. Bado. Okay, you're trying to call let's say add a b and a plus b, then and then call it with a variable and call it with a literal. Let's see what happens.
I use variables by definition.
Yeah, kwa definition use this correct thing. And then kwa call ndo utumie the getty, please. Syntactic sugar.
And then I add them.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing even okay. So ndo nimeiona. What is this?
No, in the 10 minutes.
And yeah, so try calling it with maybe a and a R, or maybe a C and a Q, anything.
How do you call it? That's it.
Huh? We just say add, then a bracket, and whatever.
Neither. Remember?
Hey,
Maybe it's objects.
what is wrong with this one? Just call that method and let's give us something to give us. So I've been talking about methods and
So I just do add.
so give it a variable, not a literal, a variable.
Sorry?
A variable, something which varies.
So we try if it works first.
Why can't you just follow my instructions?
No, I don't.
No, okay. No.
It works.
Look.
Why don't you believe this? Ningekuwa naniambia like that.
Yeah, like that. That's what I meant. You have spoiled my prior. Okay. Fenya ainda tuone kile happen. So you see, that's the difference. Geti amefanya hiyo ya juu. So what if you call them using a string? What will happen?
You guess the end.
Okay, what will happen? Second guesses.
Hello.
Okay, it's always good to predict what will happen before it happens. Then we see what happens. Either negate our theory or support it. Yeah, it's always good. So Linda, unadhani mbona nini happen and why? Wewe nini mba? Wrong with you, man? Okay, why did it happen? Yeah, why did it happen? It assume, it doesn't assume. It takes. You see assumption, that's the value. That's the true value. So you see assumption. It can. You can change what and what. Okay. Sijaelewa kitu tumesema. Hebu sema tena please, just for.
Same
Hmm?
when we do that. See the values we still change again.
So you're
So where I'm saying that these two
okay, but okay, the only word I have a problem with is assume. I take my wording seriously because you know when you say A equals to B, when it's, it doesn't assume A is 2. A is 2. I assume. So, okay, what happened? That was my question. Why? Okay, ulikuwa umesema assume. I had a problem with that. That's why nilisema usiseme assume. Okay, what happened now?
look here, A,
So it added. Okay, the correct word is concatenate. Ina concatenate. Okay. Okay, whatever. Okay, but sikuwa nataka kitu kama hiyo ifanyike before. That's why I had a problem with. Nilikuwa nataka Lindani and predict it happen. Okay, what if it were list arrays? I mean, what if you placed arrays there? For example, an array with 1, 2, 3, and another one with 1, 4, 5. What will happen? We can always do that. It's allowed. And nataka mtu predict. Array with maybe even one value, maybe 1 and 2. Another one with 2.
Like that?
Yeah, and 2. What will happen in this case? Lina, I'm back to you. Na mtu asifinye enter. And why? So, okay.
You just put a sentence.
Finya, niko karibu kumaliza meetup. Okay, sema, no, sema kita happen. Polite nita happen. Mm. Mm. I also think the same. So as a Finya enter tuone. Exactly. So it does the same. So lock to mine and then I'm done. So any questions? Now is the time to ask the questions. Yeah, questions of whatever I've covered. Ama kitu na equal limited to methods. Maybe unaweza enda ahead kidogo. The reason why I chose this one is because we're doing functional and methods are functions and yeah. There are no questions. Okay, that's the end of our story. Okay. Oh,
That was nice.
I know, right?
You are serious?
Exactly.